Hey guys, Ginger here. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and are looking forward to the new year. I know I am, and so we are here with my end of the year videos, the first of 4 that I will be posting up until the end of 2020, so I hope you're looking forward to those. And so the first one I am here to share with you guys is the worst books that I read in 2020. I know that the worst books this year have been like a controversial topic to authors and then like some reviewers, and obviously prefacing this, these are all my opinions. Some of these might be books that you really would enjoy or other people would enjoy, but for me, they did not make 2020 better, and they are all books that I do not own because I unhauled them or I didn't own them already because they were not worth keeping and not great books in my opinion. So just going forward, these are my opinions and I'm not trying to offend anybody. I just need to share the books that I really didn't like this year. As we all know, 2020 was a different year, to say the least, and so these books definitely were ones that did not make it better. I actually didn't read a lot of books this year. That didn't make sense. I didn't read very many books this year. You will see more on my stats in an upcoming video, but I only have 7 books to talk about. So I mean, that's kind of good. I don't have a top 10 list, but that's still 7 books that unfortunately didn't meet up to any, well, did I even have expectations for them? Some of them I did. Some of them I did. I only have well, we're just going to get into the list. We're going to start from the least worst to the worst book that I read this year. So without further ado, let's just get into talking about them. Since I do not own any of these books any longer, I will make sure to insert a picture here so you know what the book looks like, although some of these you might already know about. But the least worst, best of the worst, was The Dinner by Herman Koch. This book just wasn't for me, and I think I gave this a 2.5 out of 5 stars, so it was the highest rated worst book. It was very slow burn. It took place in one sitting of a dinner with like flashbacks and storytelling, and I just thought that it was a little pretentious. It wasn't my type of thriller novel, and if you've read the book and liked it, I'm sure you have your reasons. If you aren't sure what the book is about, maybe look into it a little bit more. I know it is a thriller, but it has been around for a while. I had picked this one up at the thrift store and ended up reading it. I don't remember why I read it this year, but it just wasn't for me, so I ended up passing it along to a friend. She also reads thrillers, and so I thought maybe she would enjoy it more, but unfortunately it just wasn't a book that vibes with me, and I really didn't enjoy the pacing or characters or really anything about the book, so that's why I am putting it on this list, even though it was the highest rated on the worst list. The 5 in between that one and the very last are kind of all 2 stars, I think, and the only one that was a 1 star is the last book, so I don't really have a specific order of them being worse than the other, so we're just going to go through those ones without much bias except that I didn't like them. So the first one I have here is Saint X by Alexis Schleitkin. I had received this for review, and I actually had been sent this to my old address, so when they forwarded it I had to pay for the shipping, and I had known it was a review copy but I didn't know what it was, so I paid for the shipping to get the book, and it was like $7, and I didn't like the book. So I was a little annoyed that I had to pay for the review copy pretty much because of that mailing issue, and I ended up not liking it. So this was pitched as a mystery thriller where the character's sister had gone missing on a family vacation, and part of the book takes place during that vacation. Some of it is looking back and moving forward, and honestly the reason that I disliked this so much was because nothing happened in the book. This was a almost 400-page book and nothing was resolved, nothing was like exciting, and as a mystery thriller I was looking for so much more tension and like twists and turns and revelations, and I got none of that. So I thought that the writing was okay, and I like did read the book to the end, like I didn't DNF it, but I was just really disappointed in it, so I ended up giving it a 2-star, and that was one of the first books I read in the year, so it was really disappointing. But I think that if you are someone who is looking for more of like a kind of coming of age mystery, then maybe you could check it out, but I honestly don't have much good to say about it, like plot wise, so that's why it's on this list. Next I have Don't You Cry by Mary Kubica. This I read for a reading the lowest rated thrillers on Goodreads video back in like February. I honestly forgot that I did this video this year. And I had read one other book by Mary Kubica in the past, and I wanted to give her another try with this one. I cannot tell you a single thing that happened in that book. I honestly don't remember it at all. And so that's kind of the biggest reason I rated it badly. It was a book that is very unmemorable, and I feel like the twist in it was bad for a thriller. Like, again, in a thriller, I want it to be kind of memorable. I want I want to be shocked or at least like engaged, and I feel like remembering back on that I was not, and it was kind of a slog. So that one I would say was unmemorable, and I really don't think I will be reading more of Mary Kubica in the future. The past 2 books I've read from her were, I think, both 2 stars, so I really didn't like them. If I give her one more chance, that might be a thing, but I think that I am done with her. I have not found anything memorable from her books. Another thriller on my list, we have Baby Teeth by Zoe Stage. I had received this for review when it first came out, I believe last year, and I did not get around to it in 2019, but I ended up taking it. I had to Zach had to quarantine at our house back in May. He had to go to Philadelphia and then come back. He had helped his brother, and he thought he had symptoms at the time, so I ended up having to stay with family for a week, and I had taken a few books with me, and this was one of them. And then I think I had got it on audiobook because I knew I could read it, and it really, again, was not a good thriller in my opinion. I know a lot of people actually liked this one. It's very domestic. It is about a kind of psychotic daughter, or a daughter with like bad tendencies, and I had really high hopes for it, like thinking that that was a really cool premise, but where the story ended up going and how it kept the suspense and tension just was not something for me, and I was left really disappointed with the ending. So I only gave it a 2-star because it just disappointed me. So I think that the writing was okay, and I know that she is coming out with another book and I might give it a try, but I think the thing that was just not working for me was the overall, like, where the plot went. I thought that the premise for the plot was cool, but where it actually ended up going, I really didn't like. So just be aware, if you were interested in that book, that I thought that it could have been done better, and so yeah, just, you know, I mean, this is the worst books. Obviously, I'm disappointed in them all. I don't know what you want me to say. Then we have one that's probably going to be very controversial, and that is This Is How You Lose the Time War by 2 different authors. I honestly forget who they are. I had been participating in a readathon, I think, and I needed one more book to like finish it. And so I was looking at all the audiobooks, and like I only had 1 day left, and like I was looking for a short audiobook, and this one had birds on it, so I picked it, and it was short and it was utterly confusing to me. I didn't have a single clue what I was listening to, and honestly I think that if I had not read this as an audiobook but maybe physically, I could have appreciated it more. But listening to it as an audiobook and like also trying to, I think I had a few things I had to do, like it just did not make a lick of sense to me, and so that's why I rated it poorly, because I had no idea what was going on and I didn't really like the relationship that was happening. And I again think that I possibly could have liked it better as a physical book, but it also might not have been a book for me. I know a lot of people really liked this book and they saw the deeper meaning in it, but I think because I read this just to read a book quickly, I totally missed any messages that were in it. I might reread it in the future, but honestly, I just had no interest in it to begin with, and so I probably won't revisit it. And yeah, the main reason I rated it bad was because I didn't understand it. But again, that could have just been because I was listening to it as an audiobook and maybe not reading it as in-depth as it was meant to. Second to last, and probably deserving to be second to last, was The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. I did not expect to dislike this as bad as I did, but this was a book that I could not get into. I tried reading it physically and it just felt like I was forcing myself, and so I picked it up as an audiobook and it just was not connecting to me in any way. I didn't connect to any of the characters or the plot. I think I remember the magic system being kind of cool, but I don't remember enough to like care, I guess. And so I don't remember anything that happened. I don't remember any characters. I did not connect with it at all, unfortunately. And so I gave it a 2-star. It was not memorable. It was not something that I could get into in any format. So it was just really a disappointing read because I was expecting to really enjoy it. And I don't know if I will try anything else from this author. If you guys think that there are more of her books that I would enjoy, let me know, but this one just wasn't it for me. And so I even had a signed copy and I passed it on for someone else to read because it wasn't for me, and that's okay. You know, I know that I'm not gonna like every single book that like has been talked about on BookTube, and that's fine. But yeah, that was definitely one that surprised me that I didn't like. And again, I read that for a readathon and it just was not great. And so we are at the worst book of 2020. The only 1-star that I read, which I am thankful for only reading one 1-star, but I mean, there's a lot of like just average books too, and 2 stars. But that was Not That I Could Tell by Jessica Strouser. Again, I read this one for the lowest rated Goodreads thrillers, and there was absolutely a reason that this was on that tier. This was a thriller that was a domestic thriller that had, I would say, pretty poor writing and also a poor plot. And so mixing that together with average characters just made it a bad thriller. It was kind of funny how much I did not like that book, and if you would like to see more of why I didn't like it, I will leave my thriller video linked below because I do talk about it more there, and I read it back in February. I honestly like don't remember clearly every detail why it was bad, but I do know that I still feel very strongly that that was the worst book I read this year. It just had nothing going for it, and I was very surprised to learn that it was a Book of the Month book. Yeah, I don't know, like maybe just because I've read so many thrillers, I could be like, that was objectively not good, or it's just my taste. I don't know. If you've read that book and you don't agree that it was bad, let me know why you thought it was good. I'm not here to argue, I just like am curious as to what you liked about it. If you haven't read it, I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like this isn't a thriller that a lot of people knew about unless you were getting them from Book of the Month back when it was in Book of the Month. But yeah, so Not That I Could Tell was the worst book that I read this year, and of course I passed it on. I think I donated it because I wasn't going to pass it on to a friend. It just was not worth it. So there we have it, guys. Those are the 7 worst books that I read in 2020. If you have done a worst books video yourself, please link it down below. I would love to check it out and see if there are any books that have been on my radar that are on your worst list, because maybe I would have to reconsider them. If you liked this video and liked hearing me talk about the the bad books that I read this year, make sure to give it a thumbs up to let me know you liked it, and hit that subscribe button if you would like to see more of my content. I have reignited my love for reading, hopefully, and can hope to have a fun year in 2021. Hopefully more bad things don't happen and I don't get into more reading slumps, and you'll be able to see lots of content in the new year. But if you're also interested in seeing the best books of the year, that video will also be coming out this week, so stay tuned. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!